Are you falling behind in your retirement savings? Imagine reaching your golden years and realizing you can't afford the retirement you've always dreamed of. Unfortunately, it's a scenario that's all too real for many of us. But what if I told you there's still time to turn things around? Today we're diving deep into retirement savings, and trust me, this is an episode you don't want to miss. Today we're going to explore how your nest egg stacks up against others and what you can do to boost it. Stay tuned for some eye-opening stories that might just change your financial future. Now, before we jump in, if you missed yesterday's show on seeing scripture with fresh eyes, make sure to check it out. You do that at askralph.com. It's a powerful episode that might just reignite your passion for God's Word. It certainly helped with mine. Now, let's dive into a message from one of our listeners. This one comes to us from Nevada, and this lady's name is Debbie, and she writes this: Dear Ralph, I'm 45 years old and I've been putting off saving for retirement. I always thought I had plenty of time, but now I'm starting to worry. How does my retirement balance compare to others at my same age? What are the long-term effects of not saving enough? And most importantly, what can I do to catch up? I feel like I'm drowning in financial anxiety. Well, Debbie, first off, thank you for your honesty. Your situation is more common than you might think, and I'm glad you're taking steps to address it now. So let's break this down and tackle each of your concerns. And remember, this show is all about answering your questions. If you've got a burning financial question, don't hesitate to send it over. After all, that's why we call it Ask Ralph. Well, welcome to today's episode of the Ask Ralph Show. I'm your host, Ralph Estep Jr., and I am thrilled you've chosen to join me today. Your commitment to improving your financial future while growing in faith is truly inspiring for me. Now, before we dive in, I want to remind you to visit our website. That's at askralph.com. I want you to join our community and share this episode with someone who might benefit from it. And here's a little bonus for you. When you join our email list, you'll get a free copy of my book, Mastering Your Finances. Now, if you bought this on Amazon, it will cost you $10. But it's my gift to you for being a part of our community. Got a question for the show? Send it to Ralph at askralph.com or visit askralph.com and click on the microphone icon at the bottom. And it's that simple. You can record your message. I would love to hear from you. As we delve into today's topic, let's keep in mind the wisdom from the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 21. It says this: For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. This verse reminds us that our financial decisions often reflect our deeper values and, more importantly, our priorities. Now let's address Debbie's question and explore the critical topic of retirement savings. Let me start with a story that I believe will resonate with many of you. Let's meet Tom and Linda. This is a couple I've been working with for years. When they first came to me, they were in their mid-40s, much like you, Debbie. Tom was a successful salesman and Linda was a teacher. They had a nice house, 2 cars, and took annual vacations. From the outside, they looked like they had it all together. But here's the kicker. They had less than $50,000 saved for retirement. Tom always assumed his company's pension would be enough to cover it. Linda thought her teacher's retirement fund would cover their needs. They were living in a financial fantasy world, and they didn't even know it. Fast forward 20 years, Tom and Linda are now in their mid-60s, and the reality of their situation has hit them hard. Tom's company went through a restructuring, and his pension isn't nearly what he expected. And unfortunately, Linda's teacher's retirement fund, while helpful, isn't enough to maintain their lifestyle. They're faced with the harsh reality that they need to work well into their 70s just to make ends meet. Now contrast this with another couple I work with, Mike and Karen. They started planning for retirement in their 30s. It wasn't always easy. They had to make sacrifices. Those sacrifices meant fewer vacations, driving older cars, living in a smaller house. But here's what they did. They consistently put away 15% of their income into their retirement accounts. Fast forward to today, Mike and Karen are also in their mid-60s. But their situation couldn't be more different from Tom and Linda's. They have a retirement nest egg of over $1.5 million. Right now, they're planning trips around the world, considering buying a vacation home, and most importantly, they have peace of mind knowing they won't be a financial burden on their children. Now, these two couples illustrate the long-term effects of not putting enough away for retirement versus planning well. Unfortunately, the difference is stark and it's life-changing. So Debbie, to answer your first question about how your retirement balances compare to others at your age, according to recent data, the average 401k balance for people in their 40s is around $120,000. But here's the thing. Averages can be very misleading. Many financial experts suggest that by age 45, you should have about 4 times your annual salary saved for retirement. That was stark. Well, now let's talk about some hard data. This comes from an article in NerdWallet from the Federal Reserve Board. I'm going to put a link to that article in the show notes. Based on data from 2022, Survey of Consumer Finances, the average retirement savings for all families, regardless of age, is $333,940. Well, let's break that down by age. For those of you who are under 35, the average household retirement savings is $49,130 with a median of just under $19,000. In the Survey of Consumer Finances, nearly 50% of families headed by someone under age 35 had retirement accounts. What they mean here is an IRA, a KEO, a certain employer-sponsored account such as a 401k, 403b, and thrift savings accounts. Of the families in this age group who have retirement holdings, like I said, the average value of those holdings is just under $50,000. Well, let's move to ages 35 to 44. Now, the average for this group is $141,520 with a median of $45,000. So according to the data, nearly 62% of households headed by someone in this age range had a retirement account. We already talked about the average and the medians on those. Now let's move into the age of 45 to 54. Now here we find an average of $313,220 and a median of $115,000. And we still have that 62% of households having some sort of retirement account. Now let's move into ages 55 to 64, and I'm getting closer to that age than I was a couple years ago. Here, the average household retirement savings has jumped to $537,560 with a median of $185,000. Now, the thing they mentioned in this article, this age range is close to Social Security's definition of full retirement age, which ranges anywhere from 65 to 67, depending on your year of birth. And in this range, 57% of households headed by a baby boomer have some retirement holdings. Now, the next age bracket they talk about is age 65 to 74. So if you find yourself in this group, the average household retirement savings has peaked at $609,230, with that median being $200,000. Now, the bulk of these households include someone who is already in retirement or is of retirement age. And according to this survey, 51% of the age group have retirement accounts. And then the final group is those ages 75 and older. Now, here we start to see that average has decreased because, frankly, people are getting into those monies and they're using them. So the average household retirement savings for that 75 and older is at $462,410 with an average median of $130,000. After this point, the truth is averages and median account retirement balances begin to fall, as does the percentage of people who have these retirement accounts. Now listen, I read this and I started to panic because I am nowhere near what I should be for my age. But don't panic. If you're not there yet, the key is to start taking action now. Which brings us to your last question, Debbie. And that's, what can you do to boost your retirement account balances starting today? The first thing you want to do is maximize your contributions. If your employer offers a 401k match, take full advantage of it. It's essentially free money. One of the first things I talk to clients about when they come in to get their taxes done, I look at their W-2 form, I see if they have a retirement account, and if they've got that box marked that yes, they have one, the first thing I say to them is, are you contributing to this? And if they say to me, well, I say, you're leaving money on the table. I ask them, does your employer match? If your employer matches, this is a no-brainer. You should be contributing up to at least the amount of the match. If not, you're giving away money. The second thing you might want to consider is if you don't have a retirement plan through work, or if you've maxed out your 401k or don't have access to one, consider opening an IRA. Now, that can get a little bit hairy if you've got another account that you're subject to, so you want to talk to a tax pro before you get into that. Now, one of the big things this leads me to is number 3. If you want to put aside money for retirement, one of the things you're going to have to do right away is cut unnecessary expenses. You've got to look at your budget and find areas where you can cut back. That's the place to redirect that money to your retirement savings. This is what we talked about with that second couple I mentioned. They made the decision to sacrifice. They drove cars until they couldn't drive them anymore. They lived in a modest home, but they really set their plan at putting 15% per year into their retirement. And that has grown that money to over $1.5 million. Well, another thing you consider, number 4 on my list here, is consider a side hustle. Use the skills God has blessed you with to earn extra income that can go directly into your retirement accounts. I've got a few clients that actually do side jobs, and they take all of that money, every dollar of it, after they put aside some for taxes, and put that into a retirement account. And it really does grow. Now, it doesn't have to be a pre-tax retirement account. And it could be something like you're going to invest in real estate. You're going to invest in something other than, it doesn't have to be those retirement accounts. That's what we're talking about today, but it could be other things. Number 5, this one is critically important. You've got to educate yourself. The more you understand about investing in retirement planning, the better decisions you're going to make. If you don't know what you don't know, you're never going to accomplish those things. So Debbie, one of the things I'm going to say to you right now is get a better understanding of what accounts you have, get a better understanding of what things are out there that your employer offers. You can mention to me if you're working, maybe you're working a side business or something like that. Look at some options. And the final thing leads me right to this one. Number 6, seek professional help. You got to consider working with a financial advisor who can help you create a personalized retirement strategy. One of the things I do in my practice every single day is when I meet with new clients or I meet with new business clients, one of the first things I talk to them about is, okay, that's great. Let's grow your business. Let's make it profitable. But what are you doing for retirement? Because listen, in less than a month, I'm going to be 52 years old. And I truly started my retirement planning a little bit too late. Now I've got some other things that I'm not going to get into because it's not the thing you share on a podcast, but you have to focus on that early. My son is in the Coast Guard. He just turned 27, and he has for the last several years focused on retirement. Yes, and you're going to say, well, he's 27 years old, but yes, he's doing that 15% plus. So you got to remember this. It's never too late to start. Yes, you may need to be more aggressive with your savings, but with discipline and smart planning, you can still build a comfortable retirement. So Debbie, even at age 45, it's not too late. And this is where I'm going to circle right back into where your faith comes in. In the book of Luke chapter 14, verse 28, it tells us this: "For which of you desiring to build a tower does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it?" This verse reminds us of the importance of planning and preparation in all aspects of our lives, including our finances and including our retirement. Your retirement journey is not just about accumulating wealth. It's about creating a future where you can serve God and others without financial stress. It's about having the freedom to say yes to opportunities God may bring your way in later years. So Debbie and everyone else listening, I encourage you to take action today. Start today with some small steps if you need to, but start. Your future self will thank you. Well, to recap what we explored the importance of today is that whole idea of retirement planning. We talked about average savings. And listen, I'm not one of these people that says to compare yourself, but I think it's a eye-opener so you know where you stand. We talked about some strategies to boost your retirement accounts. But remember this, it's not about keeping up with others, but it's about securing your own financial future and the ability to serve God in your golden years. Well, thank you for joining me today on this journey of financial wisdom and faith. Now, tomorrow we're going to be tackling another crucial topic. It's Technology Tuesday, so we're going to be talking about, am I using technology for connection or am I using it for what we call escapism? It's a question that touches on both our digital and spiritual lives, so be sure to tune in tomorrow. And now let me leave you with a call to action. If you're feeling overwhelmed by retirement planning or any aspect of your finances like Debbie, I'm here to help you. You can schedule an appointment with me at askralphpodcast.com/store. Together we can create a personalized plan to help you achieve financial success, but more importantly, why I do the show, to live out your God-given dreams. Remember this. Every step you take towards financial health is a step towards peace of mind and the ability to serve God more fully. So as I always say, stay financially savvy and God bless you abundantly.
Thank you for joining us on the Ask Ralph podcast. And with the simple click to subscribe, we'll invite you back to our next episode. And remember, financial issues don't have to be complicated. Just ask Ralph. The information contained in this episode of Ask Ralph is based on data available as of the date of its release. Saggio Accounting Plus and Ask Ralph Media, Inc. is under no obligation to update this content if changes occur. Applying this information to your specific situation requires careful consideration of all facts and circumstances, and any information provided is not to be considered as financial, tax, or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney before acting on any material covered.